most wonderful time of the year. Okay, I promise I won't sing anymore. And some of you are singing, bah humbug, Brenda. It's not the most wonderful time of the year. It's the most stressful time of the year. Whatever you think, here's one little hour to bring you some joy and lift your spirits. I mean, just look at Kelly Bell. How could you not be a little encouraged by the veteran fighting lymphedema with his festive attire? And speaking of festive attire, I am surrounded by poinsettias. Karen Ashford, a renowned certified lymphedema therapist and speaker on the topic of lymphedema, fibrosis, lipedema, is with us in her festive hat. Hi, Karen.
Hey.
Nice to see you. And Betty Westbrook, thank you for wearing your red. I was actually told I needed to change prior to because they thought I looked more orange than red. So there you have it. Betty Westbrook is in charge of many things, including the Lymphedema podcast, and runs Camp Watch Me and with Bryland's Feet Foundation. It's wonderful to see you, Betty. You look especially perky tonight.
Oh, I just had my hair done today.
Nice.
Thank you for noticing.
Nice. We love it. We love it. Yeah.
Oh.
Kelly had his hair done as well.
I love the look, Kelly.
I don't know where your festive attire is, Mr. Cam Ayala. What's going on with that? Oh, is it a light?
It's like a flashing red light. That's all I got. I just got off work from helping patients, so I'm in my festive scrubs.
You get a pass. You get a pass,
Okay.
Cam Ayala. By the way, as people continue to log on, we want to thank you for joining us tonight. We have 1 hour where we're going to talk all about lymphedema, how to manage it effectively, and how to make sure you don't feel alone this holiday season or ever, because LymphaPress is here to support you. I have some more introductions to make. Mary Castleberg, also one of our compression therapy consultants. Can you please show that sweater a little bit so people can really see what? Yeah, she's very festive. She's got the tree in the background, and maybe if we're lucky, she'll swivel and show us her stockings hung by the fire with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon will be there. Mary is full of the spirit of the season. Alexa Ercolana, not so much.
I forgot.
So she pulled out her lumberjack kind of flannel thing, and that will suffice for the evening. She is my partner in crime, actually not in crime, in all good things in the LymphaPress marketing team, and the person behind all the social media posts you may be seeing. So Alexa is also a lymphedema patient herself and brings that expertise to the table and runs a great blog called The Lymphy Life. If you haven't seen the Lymphy Life blog, you should go there. You post a lot of really good breaking information about what's happening in the lymphedema world.
Thank you.
How do you find it all?
Google alerts.
That'll do it. Google alerts. And then my dear friend, Angela Jones, who soon will be coming to our website because she and Kelly Bell and Alexa all participated in a photo shoot recently. We wanted to use real patients in our stuff, and Cam has been on many of our marketing materials in the past. And Mary, we've got to get you on some of our new marketing materials too. But Angela Jones, always lovely to see you, and we love the spirit and the wisdom that you bring and the candor. Now, this is real talk, everybody. We really talk lymphedema here, and the struggles and challenges, and also the triumphs that you face. We've got some nice things already happening in chat. My friend Nita Cluis, who I met through my work with the Lipedema Patient Roundtable, is here tonight. Nita is a wonderful purveyor of good, solid information on social media. She runs Whole and Balanced Living. You'd want to follow her too. She's just amazing. Lauren Alexander says she's so glad to be here, and let's get things started. Why don't we? We had some questions that came in. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. We will be happy to address them, and we're so glad we have medical professionals here to answer some of them. So I got a question about Mucinex. Someone wants to know if Mucinex is helpful to people with lymphedema. Is it a rumor? Is it fact? Medical professionals, weigh in and let us know.
I'm Googling it right now.
Well, there's always Google, but if you just use Google, you wouldn't have to be here at the round table. So anybody else have any anecdote? Anybody here used Mucinex?
I actually had a patient when I used to work in clinic who asked me about this because in the lymphedema Facebook group she was in, someone, had a cold, had really bad congestion, and their doctor gave them Mucinex or told them to get it over the counter. And they had a decrease in volume in their lymphedema. And they were like, we're going to take this year round. We're going to take Mucinex all the time. I would not advise that. And I would, while Karen is reading up and maybe gathering some details, I would probably say it's a very superficial, short-term, you might get a little decongestion out of it, but so it gets up your phlegm and it dehydrates you. That's why you have to drink so much water when you take Mucinex. And it would kind of have the similar effect to when we take a water pill. It's not going to get rid of your lymphedema. You might see some form of an effect, but it's not long lasting, and it's actually going to, and I'm being cautious, these are just my opinions,
No,
it's
you
not
should
medical
be.
advice.
Yes. Yeah.
It would probably be more harmful to take that long term because it will thicken that lymph fluid. And Karen knows all about fibrosis, and it might cause you some more fibrotic issues in the long run. So I would not recommend that. But hey, if you have a bout of a cold and you get some Mucinex, go ahead and take the win. It's like getting a stomach bug and losing 15 pounds. Do you really want to have the stomach bug all the time?
Okay.
And
I
lose
just
15
don't even
pounds?
want to, I don't even want to say what I was going to say to that.
Well,
because
I found some cool stuff here while Betty was talking. Thank you, Betty.
You're welcome.
And,
I was really trying to kill some time for you.
Yeah, no, it was perfect. So
Good
I
job.
pulled up two very interesting things. So there's one about lipedema and how lipedema patients often have a highly elevated concentration of protein concentrates, and the Mucinex, along with a proper diet and proper enzyme supplement, can increase the ability of the patient's GI tract to digest food while causing the patient to produce an effective amount of relaxin hormone. But get this, there is a phase 4 FDA clinical study on Mucinex and lymphedema going on right now.
Yep.
And there's not a lot of information about it, but if you Google it, it'll come right up. And just to summarize, it's looking at just the effects of Mucinex on lymphedema. It looks like it's looking at a lot of other drugs and supplements. So not a ton of information, but so I doubted it at first. I thought Mucinex?
Yeah,
That's
Dr.
cool.
Karen Hurst actually uses it in her practice sometimes, but she manages it with the patient. And so I wouldn't recommend anybody just going out and using it because it
Yeah.
does act like a diuretic. But
Right.
she does use it. She actually had it on her website at one time.
So I want to mention that the esteemed Kathleen Lisson, who I did a webinar with earlier today. Kathleen, we are so excited that you were with us. We did a great webinar on breath work and mindfulness and self-care tools in your toolbox. She talks in chat here that she would worry about long-term use, just like all of you have been saying, and that it's more used in lipedema if it is. Dr. Bird's website did a post, break up coagulated protein in adipose tissue. So anyhow, Kathleen, you've got a lot to say, and I almost want to put, and Leslie and Keith is out here. Wait a minute, we have rock stars in our audience. My goodness, I want to promote all of you to panelists. I'm so excited and thankful that you're here. And if anybody does want to be promoted to a panelist, you let me know and we'll put you on here. But good stuff. We had the webinar today on breath work, and I encourage, when this is uploaded to our YouTube channel, we'll send the link out to everyone. It was such a powerful hour. And let's talk breath work. I know, Kelly, you said that this is something that you incorporate in your life regularly, and it makes such a difference, especially with your pump.
Yeah, it's a keystone for one of the things I do, because any mechanical device, compression garments, pumps only push up to the diaphragm. And then since my thoracic duct is damaged above that, I actually have to help carry it forward. And so I do it throughout the day, but especially in my pump, I do as the pump is coming up my legs, I do the diaphragmatic breathing. And then when it gets to my trunk, I have it on like a 10-second delay there. Or so when it stays compressed. And then I do like, I think Lisson was talking about, Kathleen was talking about like putting, so I put my hands here and I watch my sternum go up and down. And that way with the compression of the pump, it prevents the perfusion of the lymph going the other way. So I can actually push it up further. So
I'm so glad that you mentioned that personally. And Kathleen, welcome to the panel. How about that for a impromptu visit? I love it. Anything you want to say about this breath work and the webinar that you did today, and going along with what Kelly Bell just said, how it helps when he's pumping?
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea that when we pump, we can breathe and help, move the lymphatic fluid through the entire body. I'm just really excited for it to get on YouTube, and then it can be something that the therapist can share with their clients, the clients can share with each other, and maybe something like if you have nothing better to do while you're pumping, you just click on that YouTube video and rewatch it.
So you just said when you have nothing better to do, and I just heard the collective audience say, I don't have time. I don't have time. What do you say to the I don't have time people when it comes to self-care? And I want to raise this to the entire panel, because Angela Jones, you reach out to me regularly. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you eating? Are you doing healthy things? Let's talk self-care for a minute. Angela, go for it.
I believe that the first part of self-care for me is to accept me, because I get up some mornings, I don't like me, and I haven't even done anything. But I think the first part of it is just to accept yourself, and then, take little breaks as you need them. Be good about what you put in your body. Yesterday, I went to a Christmas luncheon and we exchanged gifts. I got a 2-pound box of Russell Stover's chocolates. Now, first of all, thankfully, I don't care for chocolate, thankfully. But the entire box is, and I can be convinced since I have 2 pounds of it, but it's in my refrigerator. And I know that if I eat that, that's not going to be self-care for me, because it's going to make me feel really bad. So I don't mind giving up things that don't work for me. And I think sometimes we have to weigh out, is it more important that I take care of me, or is it more important that I just enjoy the moment of, doing something that may not work for me in the long run?
Wow, I love that conversation that you had with yourself. And I think
I don't listen though.
Well, nobody listens all the time. And this is the thing. One of the things I've learned in my life journey is you don't always get it right, but when you get it wrong, don't beat yourself up.
Right.
That's not productive either. We talked about that internal critic today. For those of you that took the time to log on tonight, I hope that you will give yourself a gift this holiday season and be kinder to yourself. Be gentler with yourself. Lymphedema may be something you have, but as my friend Mary Castleberg always says, it doesn't have to have you. Do you want to weigh in on that, Mary Castleberg?
Absolutely. So I would just say, as far as finding time for self-care primarily, we have a really awesome community and we hold each other accountable. I have a friend who has lymphedema and she called me out and she said, when have you last gone to lymphedema therapy? I was like, I work with LymphoPress. I don't need to go to lymphedema therapy, which is false. And so I went, and for the first time in 6 years, I have been bandaged.
Wow.
Because when you are living in your own world and your own body, sometimes you forget that you also need help, and that, we can miss things in our own body. We can, think that it's normal and maybe it's not. And so it's important to use your community to keep you accountable. And it doesn't necessarily, one thing that I always have to remind myself is it doesn't necessarily mean that you're taking a step back or that you're having a setback because you're having to do something extra that you don't normally do. It's all about mindset. It's all about, this is a condition that I have to live with. sometimes it sucks. It's not fun. You wish you didn't have it, but you have it. You can't get rid of it. So how are we to best move forward with that and make sure it's the best, we're doing the best for our body, because ultimately we have to live with our body.
That is it. I see, Alexa, you want to say something here.
Yeah, I wanted to jump onto that too. So I've been having, in addition to my lymphedema, and I've been, compliant and everything, but I still feel like it's been a little heavier lately. On top of that, I've had other health issues going on that have been sort of distressing for me. Sorry. And it's been a big balance of that too. And learning what I can control in the moment. It's hard to feel out of control of your body. And it's a lot of acceptance of, okay, well, here's what I can do right now. Here's actionable steps I can take. And here's my support system for when I need it. And this community is a big one for that. Family, friends, anybody who you can lean on, and not being afraid to reach out for that. So it is a big, thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, we
I
are.
can't help but smile looking at you right now.
There's a whole lot of love coming at you from this panel and also from the people out in the audience.
Thank you.
And, one of the things that we really appreciate about this, Lympha Press hosts these because we genuinely care about people. And we know it's not just about getting you in our pump, although we would love to help anybody who needs help getting an order for a Lympha Press, because we know it will make a difference in your life, but we know that it's the whole person that is affected by these conditions. And it's okay to not be okay sometimes. I think we all have had to settle that, and community is everything. That's what Nita Cluis is saying out in chat, as well as so many other people that are. Elvia Hardison is doing this for you. And Lauren Alexander says, thank you for talking about this. Lauren, we're so glad you joined us tonight too. We go there. We feel all the feelings. Go ahead, Cam, share some of your thoughts.
One of the things that I actually love about my Apple Watch that I didn't realize I love so much about it is I get these random notifications when I'm driving throughout the day, and it says just breathe. So even just having a reminder to do something that is, involuntary, and we all do it even when we're not thinking about it, but having that mindful breath and the moment when the day is really stressful or chaotic. I know that happens a lot during the holiday seasons for people trying to balance a lot of things, but just having that mindfulness of your breath and slowing things down and focusing on what your body needs. And to the topic of this being the holiday season and knowing what our bodies can and can't handle, for 33 years, I've been living my life without doing a single food allergy test. I finally got that done thanks to Karen. And there were things that showed up on that blood work that I had no idea was causing internal inflammatory responses, right? So I think as a lymphedema or lipedema patient, it is so important to be mindful of what it is you do have control over, which is what the nutrients you put into your body, right? So things that you may not have skin or allergic reactions to could be doing some pretty substantial damage to your gut and to your lymphatic health. So being more aware of that has really empowered me, but also, like, real talk, has also been extremely frustrating. It's the holiday time. I love a nice stout glass of eggnog, compared to anything else, that's my favorite holiday drink is eggnog. And that would destroy me now because it has the alcohol in it. It has dairy in it, which I can't have. It has egg in it, which I can't have. So now it's like, okay, if I'm truly taking my self-care seriously, I can put away the eggnog indefinitely, because I know it's going to do me more harm than good. So that's not an easy pill to swallow for some patients, giving up things that they love. Angela, you're lucky you don't love chocolate. I love chocolate. I can't have chocolate anymore. So again, I just, like Mary and like Alexa has said, is know what your body can and can't handle. And it's going to be a constant battle of trial and error, because your body's going to change too over time. So having that awareness and having a good team of either nutritionists or lymphedema therapists or a good physician, and obviously the lymphedema community online is great to be a sounding board and to bounce ideas and to really just kind of experiment and empower yourself.
I love that comment. Of course, Betty Westbrook is saying oatnog. Oatnog, really, Betty?
Yeah, I have been wanting to try the Chobani brand. I have been trying to be dairy free I actually was vegan for a while before before I was pregnant. And then I craved beef tacos, which you can't take the
You know,
Tex-Mex
you're all
out of the
making me
Texan,
very
so-
hungry tonight. You got to stop talking food. We got to change the subject soon, but go ahead, Betty.
So eggnog is one of my favorites too. And I've tried to cut back on the dairy. Oat nog, it actually wasn't awful, but I tried like the Target off brand. But the Chobani, I've been told, is like chef's kiss, delicious. So I'm actually going to be trying that pretty soon.
And
Because
someone
drink
just
their-
weighed in and said coconut milk. You can make delicious eggnog with coconut milk. But I want to go back to you, Karen Ashford, because you advised Cam to maybe check out getting a food sensitivity test.
Yeah.
So maybe there are people in our audience tonight that are saying, huh? And how do I do that?
Well, it's finding the right nutritionist. And there are a number of great nutritionists out there. And I think that the gastric lymphatic system has a huge impact on lymphedema elsewhere in the body. And I've seen this over and over in my own practice. And Cam and I were talking at NLN in Boston in October, and I pulled him aside and I said, you know, Cam, I know you've been kind of working with this for a few years, but I have to tell you, this is something that would really help you and you should do it. And I'm so excited, Cam. I was actually just before this roundtable listening to the recording of the session that you sent me. And I think that nutrition is an area that some people feel really a little scared about. And so I think it's good to have some professionals in your back pocket that you can refer to when you need to send someone to have more testing. But I want to just acknowledge Leslyn Keith, because Leslyn really has inspired me to recognize that nutrition is self-care, and that being able to put good foods in our body and know what makes us run and is jet fuel for our bodies, and also what is gumming up the gas tank. So yay, Cam. And I encourage all of you to just watch what happens. I mean, when you eat certain things, how do you feel? Do you feel good? Do you feel energized? Do you feel sluggish? What happens to your lymphedema? Because there is a relationship there.
Thank you for mentioning that. And Cam, people want to know what that book is that you were holding up. And it's hard to see with what you have with your camera, but it's the ketogenic solution for lymphatic disorders. Leslyn Keith wrote that book. And she also wrote a new book, The Lymphatic Code, which someone also said in chat is amazing. We did a whole webinar on that. You can go to our YouTube channel and find that as well. This is really good information. And it's interesting that it's not something we've talked about a lot on these previous roundtables. We have some questions from the audience, but one that came in that might be sort of related from Linda Allen. Well, actually, no, Dale Marie Walton in Virginia said, are there any vitamins to help the lymphatic system? Does anybody want to weigh in on that? Vitamins, either anecdotally that you use or from the medical viewpoint. Of course, we never offer medical advice here, but we love talking about things that can help you manage your conditions. So anything about vitamins? Kelly, go ahead.
For me, it's magnesium. I've never had any issues with sodium issues, never hot, only low when they have me on these huge amounts of diuretics. But magnesium is something I actually take daily, like 400 milligrams.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you this, for research is coming out, chloride is something that I've been low on a few times, and they're finding chloride is a big, like something coming up in the world, like they're looking at, because it's the relaxation part of the lymphatics. And they're looking at that because without chloride, your lymphatics can't relax enough. And ironically, there's actually cardiac research going on at the same time with the same issues. And so it comes down with, so chloride is something I would look at coming into. You can't take it by itself, but just something to keep an eye on because the research is coming out about it.
Yeah, we always say, check with your medical professionals before you incorporate anything into your routine. But interesting anecdotal information here. Now, Tammy Beatty is out there, and Kelly, I'm going to put you on the spot again because you said, I recall that Kelly did not wear compression garments for his abdominal lymphedema. Could he comment on that? And what does he do to prevent swelling in the day?
Okay. So first I have to start and say that I am not against compression garments. As a matter of fact, I weren't, because people ask me, I've been on Capitol Hill 5 times arguing for the Lymphedema Treatment Act. But for me, because of my lymphatic issues all in my trunk, one thing I started learning is I, after wearing them for a bit, I literally start swelling more. And actually they cause my issues to get worse and actually cause issues with my organs, especially my kidneys. My creatinine levels elevate, but my EGFR like drops significantly. And actually research is showing that that actually can happen. So that's why I don't do it. And what I do is I think I tell people I spend anywhere from 4 to 5 hours a day managing my lymph. Trust me, if I could have something to maintain that lymph in my trunk all throughout the day, I would love it, but I can't. So for me, that's where the breathing comes in. As you saw me do this right here, like sitting like this is the worst thing for me. And so I actually relax and breathe while I'm talking and take a couple minutes and just make sure I'm moving lymph up to that thoracic duct. So
I learned how to breathe better today. Thank you, Kathleen Lisson. And
she had a lot of good techniques. I highly
did.
recommend watching our video.
Really and truly, because you will be walked through actual practices like holding your breath. And it was such good stuff. Elizabeth Graham is out there and she wants to know, has anybody else experienced an area of the body affected by turning a blue color with red looking spots? Her leg is affected, and while wearing compression, she sees no issues. But when she's not, and when she's standing or sitting, it'll happen. She's been trying to keep her leg elevated as much as she possibly can. And we know that that's always a good thing, exercise, elevation, and compression. Does anybody, and obviously we're not diagnosing Elizabeth here, but blue color or red looking spots? Mary, go for it.
I was actually really happy when I saw this question come in because I also get that if I'm standing without compression, which is very, very rare for me. I usually don't go more than 15 minutes without compression because I get very achy and I get that look. But after the shower in particular, I will have a very splotchy red and purple bluish look into my legs. I don't know why though. So thanks for asking that question, because I was like, oh, that happens to me. So
okay,
that's why the roundtables are so good.
At least you know you're not alone, but does anybody else? Karen, I see you sort of ready to jump in. Go for it, Karen.
Yeah, so I always tell my patients, you got to really watch out for those patriotic colors. You really do not want to turn red, white, or blue. And blue can sometimes be a sign of poor circulation. And so if you are not noticing it so much when you're wearing your compression, then yeah, the compression is helping your circulation. So I think that when you've got bare skin, does that mean you never have bare skin? No, but you might want to make sure that in addition to elevating, that you're walking around a bunch so that you are helping the circulation. And maybe there's different types of compression that you can wear. A lot of people, when they get home and they want to just take off those tight stockings or tight arm sleeves, there can be some alternatives. Some of the quilted compression can still give you great stimulation to the circulation, but it's not so tight and confining. So just some thoughts.
I think that's a great rule of thumb. Watch out for those patriotic colors. I never heard that before, but that really resonates. Kathleen, you had typed in chat that Dr. Stephen Dean had done something on this. And by the way, I just attended his webinar with Learn last week, which was outrageous, refuting the European standard of care and how it says lymphedema and lipedema. It was just really, really good. We're going to promote that as well. But did you want to add anything about what you learned from Dr. Dean on that? Kathleen, you just wanted to throw that in there to tease all of us.
Yeah, I'm teasing myself, but I'm trying to Google it. I've just seen, like, we've all seen so many of Dr. Dean's presentations. He's really amazing at differential diagnosis. I just have to figure out what the word is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm Googling.
Keep Googling. Okay, good. Well, we've got a lot more to talk about here. One of the things that came up on chat on social was about using shaving or using creams on lymphedema limbs. Do any of our lymphedema patients here face challenges with that? Cam, you're shaking your head. What's going on? Well, you don't shave your legs, I'm sure, right?
Only for
do you?
surgery, but that's one thing though that you do have to be careful for anytime you're shaving your lymphedema affected extremity, because skincare is so important. And if you nick yourself, or I know a lot of patients have experienced if they're using an electric razor or even a regular standard razor, and they nick themselves and they don't bleed, but they start weeping lymphatic fluid. So having those episodes of lymphorrhea. So you need to be very cautious of that and what's in the shaving cream, right? Like there's a lot of kind of famous brands like Barbasol or whatever that, you know, you assume is just because it's a household name is going to be good and safe for your skin. But I would definitely encourage, you know, talking to your lymphedema therapist, or just maybe going a little bit more on the organic route, because having good skincare is such a pivotal placeholder in the lymphedema management ecosystem.
Mary, please add in.
Yeah, so when I was diagnosed, they told me that I should not shave my leg. And that's not really something that a 12-year-old girl wants to hear. And so I do shave my lymphedema leg. I take it very slow. Don't rush it. If you do happen to cut yourself, it's not the end of the world. Just make sure it's clean and that you're taking care of it. Anytime that you nick yourself, even if it's not from shaving, you really just need to pay attention to it to make sure that everything is clean and healing well, because of the risk of cellulitis.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Cam as far as making sure the products that you're using with shaving cream, non-scented is a good one. You don't want anything that has a lot of artificial chemicals in it. And my biggest thing is just take your time with it. You don't never dry shave, always use shaving cream and water. You never just want to go ahead and, scrape. And if you have any areas that have papillomas or skin breakdown, make sure that you're taking care of that first before you start, putting any razor near that, because we really want to make sure that your skin is healthy before you do that.
I love that we're talking about things that matter to people. Real life matters. Like Lauren Alexander out there says, it is so hard to shave like this. Thank you for talking about this. We are happy to talk about it. And if there's anything else you want us to talk about, you got our ear. Put it in the Q&A. We would be happy to answer any questions that you might have about it. The holiday season. Are there any particular challenges as a lymphedema patient when facing the holidays? Or is it just one big ball of potential stress for all of us? Go ahead, Alexa.
I think definitely the eating a lot more food and the kind of food. I'm Italian. We eat a lot of meats and pastas at the holidays. And so watching the sodium and everything is a big thing. And making sure that I'm kind of doing like decongestive exercises with my feet and my legs while I'm sitting there recovering from the meal, just making sure things are moving, because if I'm eating a lot more than I normally am, things tend to get sort of dense and backed up a little bit. So listening to your body and not denying yourself anything, but just doing those extra little measures to make sure that you're taken care of as well. So
I was just confessing to some dear friends that I've spent the last few months eating my feelings, and in 4 months gained 20 pounds. And not only does it make my clothing uncomfortable, it makes me not feel good about myself. And yet on the other side, I had to say, Brenda, give yourself a break. You've been through a lot this year. Many people have been through many challenges. And again, it's not about blowing it and beating yourself up. It's about saying, okay, tomorrow's another day and I can start fresh. So I just want to encourage all of you out there, whether you're eating your feelings or falling on the wayside with your regime, it's always easy to get back on your regimen and do the things that you know are good and healthy for you. Kelly, did you want to say something?
Yeah, my recommendation is if you're like me, I'm keto. That's what I eat. I don't eat anything else. I mean, I'm strict. Like I don't eat nuts. Even some things, dairy, I don't eat. So what I do is I eat before I go to the parties or before I go out to eat with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not hungry when you get there, when all those temptations are there. So that way you're not fighting hunger and temptation. You can just like slap yourself, like, don't eat that, you know.
Slap yourself. We
yeah.
do not advocate slapping yourselves. This is not a recommendation from the panel tonight.
It works for me. It works for me.
It works
so I
for
advocate
you.
it.
Allison Landrum is out there, and she wants to know any recommendations on locating a lymphedema specialist. The lymphedema clinic in her region closed down, and she has had zero luck finding a replacement. Recommendations to our friend Allison Landrum. How can she find a lymphedema specialist? By the way, can you put in the chat where you are located, city and state? And go ahead, Alexa.
Not to do a shameless plug, but on my blog's resources page, I have a list of a couple therapist search engines or therapist finders. So I can put that link in there too. And the Lana website, Kathleen just said that's a good one too.
Excellent.
I'll add mine in there.
Oh, Linda Lehman asks a very holiday type question as well. Does anyone find that they are invited to less activities during the holidays? She even asked, she had someone ask her to cover her legs with a long skirt or dress. I want you to know, I feel for you. That was highly insensitive. And does anybody want to weigh in on what our friend, first of all, we're sending you love, Linda Lehman.
Yeah, Linda.
We'd invite you to our
We got
party
you.
and we wouldn't ask you to cover your legs. You know,
Yeah, I would just say you don't want to go to that party anyway.
Exactly.
Right? Especially if someone's going to be that shallow, that's someone you don't even want to associate with, right? So there's that old saying, hurt people, right? That person is obviously so insecure with their own self that they're going to say something as shallow as cover up your leg that you have a disability on. Like,
yeah,
don't worry about that. The lymphedema community, we have your back. You're in a virtual party right now. But I get it. It doesn't make it any less hurtful. I've lost several friends and girlfriends because of the inconvenience of the accommodations sometimes that the lymphedema requires. And so again, it's honestly, for me, the older I get, I find it to be a good filter of the true people in your corner that are going to love all of you and see you as a blessing and not a burden.
So well said. Now, Angela, I see you just ready to say something there. I know you because you are an encourager at heart. So come on, let's have it.
Well, when I don't get invited to a lot of Christmas things here because I'm not usually here. I go to North Carolina, but people who know me know about my condition, and still people will try to convince me, you can just have a little piece of cake. There's no such thing as a little piece of cake. And I find that I really have to just go ahead and kind of respond in a down, dirty way and just, I already told you I can't eat that, and I really just have to stand up for myself because people don't really have any regard for you at certain moments, and you have to have regard for yourself. So I always think about, okay, how am I going to feel tomorrow if I do this tonight? Tonight is fine, but I want to feel good tomorrow. So I have to look at that too. And I just speak up for myself. I already told you I can't do it. Don't ask me again. So.
Yeah. Oh, Kelly's doing the slap thing again.
Yeah.
Okay. So that could be
my body, my life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And, we're talking self-care a lot, and being careful who you spend time with and not surrounding yourself with energy vampires, people that are going to drain you, people that are going to bring you down. Who said you're the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with in your life? And look at that list. Who do you spend the most time with in your life? And maybe do some editing this holiday season and decide who you want to be with, people that bring joy to your heart, people that lift you up, people that make you feel good about life. We encourage you to do that because you know why? You're worth it. You are worth taking care of you. Lauren Alexander, who has been so active in chat, we are so glad you joined us tonight. She's new to this. She's 20 years old and actually had to try and take a break from school to take care of this. It's a very new diagnosis for her. We're so glad you found us and that we can help. It was hard to walk on campus. She was able to get the diagnosis. She's going to physical therapy and wearing compression. She is asking about surgery. Now she's saying for lipedema. Now this is the lymphedema patient roundtable, but we know that oftentimes there are topics that overlap. And I did get a question before tonight about surgery, liposuction for lymphedema and lipedema. And again, we're not giving medical advice, and it's not one size fits all. What might work for one person may not be the best course of action for another. But she's specifically asking about surgery. And let's put it out for lipedema or lymphedema. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? And it is an individual thing that requires a doctor's attention. Go ahead, Karen.
I think that anyone considering surgery needs to find the very best, most specialized surgeon who can really address the unique attributes of lymphedema and lipedema. And there are plenty of people out there that are willing to do surgery, but know very little about these conditions. So that's my biggest recommendation, is to get some good recommendations and, do your due diligence with that.
Sounds good. And I saw that you gave the thumbs up, Kathleen. Is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Plenty of people that want to do surgery but shouldn't be doing surgery on you. I agree with Karen.
Okay. So be very, very cautious. You're worth taking the time to find the right person to help you out.
And I know that we've interviewed some great lymphedema surgeons in our lymphedema channel and lipedema channel. So definitely check those out. And it is a very specialized type of procedure, right? Whether you're getting the suction assisted liposuction, or you're getting a lymphovenous bypass, or you're getting a lymph node transfer. And I think it's really important to have those candid conversations with the surgeon to set expectations prior to surgery. Because I think just as Americans, we either want to take a pill, or we want to get a surgery, or we want to download an app that's going to make everything boosh go away or make our lives easier. But that's sometimes not the reality for every patient, right? And I've personally had an LVA, the lymphovenous bypass surgery, and I live in Houston, Texas, which has one of the largest medical centers in the world. So you would think there would be a ton of very qualified surgeons here in my backyard doing it. I had to go up to the Cleveland Clinic to get that surgery because I spent years doing research and vetting through several different surgeons, several different clinics, because I wanted to find the one that truly understood my condition. And I just had a good vibe with the bedside manner and the staff. So it's not always easy for a lot of patients to have someone in their backyard. So if it's something you're worth investing into, do your research prior to just going for convenience, because you want long-term efficacy. You don't want just something that's going to be quick because it's convenient geographically, for example.
Very good advice.
I want
Love
to
that.
piggyback off of that a little bit, Brenda. Cam just mentioned, and like anyone on the panel now who has lymphedema can attest, when you want a result, you want it right then. You don't want to, it's not the whole Instagram thing, like, can we skip to the good part? And I'm like, boom, I'm better. So you have to go through the process. And I would like to say, we've kind of talked about different things tonight: self-care, getting in to see your CLT, going through the phase 1 of decongestion, working on your bandaging, working on your nutrition, working on all of those things. That's should be a criteria to qualify you for surgery, I think, because you can't go into surgery and have it and then think you're going to come out of it and just be like, okay, we're better, let's carry on. You have to build that super firm foundation in your foundation of care to be able to qualify and thrive after surgery. And like they've kind of mentioned, they've had the great interviews. I have a 3-part interview with one of the surgeons on my podcast, Lymphedema podcast, and it's a total of an hour and a half or 2 hours of content. of him just talking you through and answering questions on what is the surgery, who's a candidate, when you're not a candidate, and all these really important details. So things like that, look into those and definitely do your research. And I sent you my email address in the chat. Like, I would just like to talk to you. Mary offered too. Like, I don't have lymphedema, but I have a huge heart for all the people in the lymphedema community. And with Bryland's Feet Foundation that I work with, we provide services and resources to pediatrics up to age 23. So you qualify if you would like any help or to get plugged in with the CLT for like virtual consults. I just feel like I want to like reach through here and be like, give you a hug. So
I like that. I hope you felt that,
we're
Lauren.
here
That
for
was
you.
really awesome. And Betty, thank you. Thank you for what Bryland's Feet Foundation does for so many. And of course, what Camp Watch Me does. And we'll be starting to promote that again pretty soon. But thanks for weighing in on that. You know, just looking at this panel and some of the chat that we've had tonight, you can see that lymphedema affects all kinds of people, all ages, all sizes, all races, all backgrounds. It is an equal opportunity affliction, I guess you could say. And I hope in all of that, you see that you are not alone, that there is somebody that is like you, that can relate to you. And we don't want you to feel bad about what you're facing. And so John has been through a lot: AVM in the brain, his thyroid shutdown, major cramping, CPAP, neuropathy, and kidney failure. And then he said that that's what gifted me with.
That's my brother.
lymphedema.
I live it, man.
John, you win the prize tonight. In fact, John, we want to send you a LymphaPress calendar that will make you smile and bring joy to your heart. And if you wouldn't mind, I know you have my email address because we've gone back and forth. Send me your mailing address. We want to send you a calendar to encourage you this year. But, you know, it's hard. He says hard learns. I think we can all say we've been through some hard learns in our life. But what do they say? That if you learn something from it, then it's not bad. So you learn and you live, and then sometimes you learn and you can help other people, like our panelists here tonight are doing. I have one more question that's come in about fibrosis. And whenever I think fibrosis, I know my expert, my resident expert, I'm sure there are more, but you know, Karen, I'm going to call on you. This question came in: it's hard to tell where the toenail ends and the fibrosis begins. What do you do to avoid cutting your skin when trimming your toenails?
Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, I guess the first thing I'd say is if you soak, that softens the toenails and the skin. It's tough because I do work a lot with toes that are heavily fibrosed. So you want to definitely address that. And if you're not already wearing toe caps, I would just run and try to find some toe caps that fit correctly. I have found low-level laser to be miraculous with toe fibrosis. It has been a wonderful thing. And I'm not really addressing your question, which is how to avoid cutting skin. And I know a lot of podiatrists use special instruments. So that might be the way to go for right now is, you know, don't go to a nail salon, run from a nail salon, but maybe try to find a good podiatrist that can help you, and then just holistically address all these other areas so that your toes and your nails can be as healthy as possible.
That was a great answer. And you had also weighed in, Kathleen, and said the point about a podiatrist for care at that point. Kathleen, we're just going to invite you every month just to give us the thumbs up, so we know we're headed on the right track here. I love what's happening in chat. I haven't been able to watch it for the last 5 minutes because I was talking. And I have to say, there's so much, I'm getting all the feels just by reading the comments out there and the way the community swoops in. Elizabeth says this is her first roundtable since being diagnosed, and it's been so informative. And we thank you for joining us, and spread the word. If you know somebody who has lymphedema and they want real talk, they don't want, you know, just like white jacket, suited up and clinical talk, which is important, absolutely. And Lymphopress provides a lot of that. There's also the real talk that we have from patients and professionals who really care about your well-being. Our tagline at Lymphopress is because life can be better. We think your life can be better. And we also know that Lymphopress can help make your life better too. Hey, I'm Brenda from Lymphopress. I got to say one thing. Lymphopress, I get testimonies every day on my desk. Alexa gets them as well, from people who are saying, I can finally wear shoes again, or I can play with my grandchildren again, or garden. I am able to be active. I can reach the top counter, the top shelf in my cabinet again, because I've got a comfy sleeve that's helping to give me therapy after my breast cancer surgery. If you'd like to know more about Lymphopress, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, bviola@lymphopress.com. And I'm going to do a quick roundtable now as we are running out of time. And your wish for our audience this holiday season, who would like to start? Ooh, Betty Westbrook, what do you wish for our wonderful audience, whether they are here live with us or whether they watch on the replay? What would be your wish this holiday season? Angela, I can see you thinking. There's little hearts coming out of your ears. What would you say?
I would say love yourself and protect your health.
Somebody needs to come out with an Angela Jones calendar of sayings, like just drop the mic. Who wants to follow that? Love yourself. And what was the second part?
Protect your health.
Protect your health. I absolutely love that. Anybody else want to say anything before we run out of time? Go ahead, Kelly.
Find your peace. Find your peace and don't let anybody take it. They don't own it. It's not theirs. So find your peace, whatever that means.
You know, that's so good. And Mary, I'm going to go to you next. But during your webinar today, Kathleen, you said if you feel overwhelmed, go back to your resource. What does that mean?
So it's certain things that we can do that can get us away from fight and flight or freeze back into where we can communicate, with another. So that can be looking at things in the environment, hearing sounds, feeling the feeling of your body on the furniture, looking into the eyes of someone you love, whatever you have seen in the past that really helps you get away from the crazies and back into, feeling it with your heart.
I thought that was such great advice today. And you even said looking into the eyes of a pet, which I gaze into my Shasta's eyes all the time. So that was excellent advice. Mary, what would you like to wish for our audience this holiday season?
Yes. This one, special shout out to Linda Lehman, because I think that you deserve all of the hugs. There is always a silver lining if you choose to see it. I am a firm believer in that. There's always something good that comes out of even the worst case scenarios. And so even if it's not easy to see, look for it, try and find it, and things will get better.
Yeah, I see a silver lining. Yeah, you're right, Mary. It's out there. It's out there. Absolutely. I love your smile, Karen Ashford. What do you want to leave our audience with? I think you froze.
I was going to say.
But you know what? If you're going to freeze, what a great face to freeze on. Like whenever I get frozen, it's some weird face. It's like, oh, Lord. So, all right. Well, we'll just leave that smile. That would be what she would like to leave our audience with. Alexa, this holiday season, what would you like to impart to our audience?
Well, I'm a sucker for New Year's resolutions. I love the ritual of a fresh start. And if I tell myself, okay, this is the year, things are going to be different. So I think taking time to kind of really reflect on your past year and kind of take stock of the things that you really enjoyed that you did or that people did for you maybe, and then what could be different for the next year and what you would want for yourself, and kind of start that process of manifesting and setting that foundation for new practices and habits for the new year. So,
well, I have to say that the greatest gift I got this year was you joining the LymphaPress team and being in my life. I can't thank you enough, Alexa, for what you bring, the depth and the heart that you bring to this entire community and what you've brought to LymphaPress. It makes us better at making life better for people. So hearts to you, Alexa Ercolano.
Right
What do
back
you
at
want to
you.
say, Betty Westbrook? Did you want to leave anything with people?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a combination of like what Angela said about just loving yourself and protecting your health and protecting your peace. And I just have been thinking, it might sound like not a Christmas holiday message, but I feel like the idea that no one is coming to like save us, like no one's coming to make me get off the couch on January 1st and put away all the carbs. Like no one else is going to make me do that. I have to pull myself up by my bootstraps and stay committed to the goals that I have to reach for the lymphedema community, for the podcast, for myself as a mom and a wife and a friend. Like, I just feel like everyone should know, like, you have it within you. Whatever you want to do, you absolutely can do it, because that's like your heart telling you, like, we can do this. We can totally accomplish this. So it sounds really sad to be like, no one's coming to make you do it, but you already have the ability, because that thought, that seed is in there. You just have to give it some nourishment. So
is that
water
like
your
Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz when Glinda the Good Witch said, but Dorothy, you had it all along. Yeah.
You
Did
have it
I
all
get
along.
everybody? Cam, did you go? Did I get you?
You got me. Yeah. And
Got
that
you. I'm
just,
sorry. I was all like getting all
my-
the feels that I lost track of who I called on and who I didn't.
no, I haven't gone. I was just going to say in closing, the one quote that has really gotten me through this past year, which has been a very physically, emotionally, spiritually challenging year for me in particular, is you will grow through what you go through, and you will find that growth. And it does require you to put the work in. I never sugarcoat this with my patients, because they ask, well, how often do I need to use my LymphaPress? And I tell them, look, we're at a constant battle against gravity and lymphedema. It takes no days off. But give yourself some grace, but grace with consistency equals management. And I think that's what it all is about, is managing it best for yourself.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to end our little festive hour this December at the Lymphedema Patient Roundtable. Again, we're so honored that you chose to spend an hour of your month with us, and we'll be here every month. You're stuck with us. Every second Tuesday of every month, we gather together and we have conversations that hopefully will uplift, inspire, and educate you. LymphaPress loves our patients, and we consider it a privilege to help you manage your condition. My wish for all of you is that you have a healthy and happy and beautiful holiday season, and that all of your dreams come true in 2022. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next month, everybody.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Hi,
Happy
everybody.
holidays.
Happy New Year.